let's move on to Mayor Elorza's story. And Mayor, can you give us the brief overview of what Democrats for Education Reform is, the work that you're doing, and what the case for that work is?
Yeah, sure, of course. So our organization, we do policy through politics. And really the core of our work is we build relationships with Democratic elected officials and sometimes appointed officials. And we leverage those relationships to shape their views on education policy. And we support them given all the tools that we have in our toolbox so that they can be successful in their education advocacy work. The reality is that as an ed reformer, it's a tough environment in the Democratic Party right now, and it's been that way probably for the past 10 years. Democrats, in all frankness, we haven't led on education since about 2014, sort of those last years of the Obama presidency, when the Common Core issues really came up. So it's been 10 years. Many electeds that were leading on education before that, they've left office. They haven't been replaced. And so what has happened with Democrats is that, frankly, over time, we've lost the language, the ideas, the policies, and the vision on education. And, particularly after COVID, it started to cost us politically. So 10 years ago, we used to have a 26-point advantage over Republicans on voter trust on education. Today, that advantage is completely gone. And in fact, in battleground states, we're underwater. We're -3. Like, we are no longer the party of education, and it's hurting us politically. And so in the spirit of never letting a good crisis go to waste, I see an opportunity here. We're no longer armed with only the policy case or the moral case. Now it's also the political self-interest case. And so we talk to the administration, we talk to leaders in Congress, we talk to leaders at the state level, and we're getting folks' attention. And we want to be there to help build up that language, the ideas, the policy, and the vision on education, and support courageous leaders who are leading boldly on education. And that's what we do.
Where do you think you're making the greatest progress right now, man?
I think that
where are you seeing movement?
I think the space with the greatest opportunity is at the governor level. Again, at the executive level. Unfortunately, the Biden administration has not been strong on ed reform. They have been supportive of education issues, but not necessarily reforms. But there's a crop of governors and gubernatorial candidates that are interested in leading on education. So, the big names are Governor Polis, of course, in Colorado, Governor Moore, that's very interested in leading on education. He comes from a reform background, and Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania as well. I have a lot of interest, and I'm watching keenly what each of them do. But then there are also some gubernatorial candidates that are popping up across the country that are reaching out to us and saying, we want to lead on education. What do you recommend? What should we do? So I think there's a lot of energy at the gubernatorial level.
Yeah. Well, but I would also say, especially in more recent times, I mean, again, as Democrats, just happens to be the three of us, we've not paid as much attention at the state level, which really is the focal point in many instances of education. This is where, House and Senate seats, redistricting, and education funding come into play, and the school boards, right? So the Republicans have spent a lot of time focused on running for every possible office, but especially focused on elected school boards. And so now we've got, in a state recently, we've got to put up the 10 commandments in every classroom. We're banning books and a variety of other things. This is all a part of the larger culture war that Republicans are focused on, in my view, in particular with education.